vidges. So now let's see. Let's see if Pastor Bess has gone off the air yet.
Rules of Nerduisition is live. There we are. All right. Welcome. Today is November 10th, 2004. This is the Rules of Nerduisition. I'm Gretchen. This is Angry. We're your hosts, and we are escaping. We are indulging in escapism today.
Yes. Yes.
While we go through the, as my friend put it, the 727 stages of grief.
Correct.
Radio on YouTube. I think on Twitch also. Is it
We're
at
on
Angry
Twitch.
IT
We are
Nerd?
on. Yep. We're on Twitch. We're on Trovo. Um, you know, we need to show. We need to do something for our Facebook page and show some love to our Facebook page so we can start going live on there and and everybody, you know, follow us on TikTok too so we can go live there. You know,
We do have, yeah, we have a new TikTok page
we
at
have a
the
TikTok.
Rules of
Yeah.
Nerduisition. Yeah. Good
Yeah.
clips
So
of some of our previous conversations with some amazing people in the industry.
and the absolute nicest people you will ever meet in your entire life. Super nice. So
Recording in progress.
Let's try that too. Let's try recording,
let's
but
do that as
I
well.
I can always rip the audio from the YouTube version so that we can have that on the podcast over on Spotify as well.
Hell of a week, yeah. So yeah, we so do apologize if I'm not as kind of excitable or even less less lack than what I normally have. But anyways, I'm here and she is here and we are here to talk to you about some trekking and the treks in the spaces and the stars in the city on the edge of forever.
City on the Edge of Forever.
That
Which before we get too deep into that, I maintain my kill to death ratio at perfect. Joan Collins is still alive, who plays Edith Keeler in this episode. So, um, awesome to her. So she will not be a part of that, but there are a couple of people. I'll talk about them a little bit later, but I did want to make a quick shout out. Commander Kern, Tony Todd. We lost him this week.
the Candyman has fallen.
The Candy Man has fallen. So yeah, I wanted to
Said
throw that out there. Even though he's not related to this episode, he is. Hmm.
that he did. Old man Jake Sisko. He was.
That's right, Deep Space Nine. He's done multiple voice acting,
Mm-hmm.
in DC animation, Marvel animation, all kinds of stuff. I mean, I would say there are very few voice actors out there more prolific than him, with the exception of maybe Keith David.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But
I first got my first introduction to him is through Candyman, and then from there, then Jake Sisko. So and then yeah, just a slew of just like different voiceover projects and everything. So yeah, it was. It was
so yeah,
it's a
rest in
shame.
power, sir. Rest in power, sir.
So
Get my
yes,
other radio show background off of there and keep doing this thing. But yeah, we're gonna get through this. We're trying to
so
keep everybody entertained, do
we're
something
getting through
fun.
this.
I'm
We're
just
going.
like I kind of brushed my hair before the show started, but whatever. I don't even care. I don't even care.
Uh, I think that's just kind of the whole vibe of everything now. Is just F it. Just F it. Let's just talk about Star Trek and just F it. You know? So you know, uh, let's go through the IMDb's for a second because they have a very,
Yeah,
the storyline to it. I'm going to start out a little bit differently because, it's a very great synopsis on this one. So, when an accident causes Dr. McCoy to go temporarily insane, he escapes to a strange planet. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Why? Whoever is that Kirk's assigned to those damn transporters. You know, they need to do a better job. That's all I got to say. They need to do a better job. Anyways, there, the search party discovers a device left by a superior vanished civilization, a time portal that plays the history of Earth for them. Why Earth? Why only Earth? Right? I mean, so many other planets out there. I mean, they could have gone with, Romulus. The home planet of the Romulans, or all these other planets in the galaxy. The Borg home planet. I mean, well,
Well,
Borg
in
wasn't
one
there
of
yet,
your
but still.
right, in one of your, least favorite of the Trek movies, Spock even says it when they're discussing this strange probe that's beaming this message to Earth, and they're like,
Hmm.
why hasn't man answered yet? And Spock says, only human arrogance would assume that message is meant for man. And that's
Right?
probably the fault of the writers too. We obviously have to look at that. Why is it this way? Because it's in the script.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So
It's in the
yeah.
script.
So the time portal plays the history of Earth, but then Bones jumps through it into the past because Bones is why? Why? Because we
He's
wouldn't have a
he's
story.
freak.
We wouldn't have a
Well,
story if he
he's
didn't jump through it. So
Sulu was diagnosed with a heart flutter, and McCoy was
mhm.
treating him with some cordrazine.
Right?
And at some point, the ship just freaks out, just
Yeah, and then
"Ah!"
he's like, ah, and then
beams down, and then they go looking for him, and
they
then he
beam
runs out
down
from
and
behind the rocks and leaps through the
he leaps
ah!
through the portal, and then all of a sudden the ship is gone, and some people start disappearing, and then the portal speaks. And it's like, and they tell him, "Hey, bro, um,
I'm the guardian of forever.
the Guardian forever. Hey, bro. So, when he jumped back, it screwed up all time. So everything is catching up. Uh, if you want to stop him, you could go right through there. It's
Right, and they got to wait for like
yeah,
it to recycle too, because I guess it
yeah,
like plays the history of Earth like super
for
fast.
right. And so it essentially has to essentially when it starts back over again, and starts back over, and they pick a spot, the approximate time to go back, and then goes back, and they get there about probably about roughly a week before McCoy gets there, and
Right, yeah,
then
about a week ahead of him.
yeah,
Hmm.
and then from there they have to wait on McCoy, and then you see Kirk has to get a job.
Kirk has to get a job. He does it in a soup kitchen, which
He
hey
does it in
is
a
is
soup kitchen,
no hey that's notable. At least you're giving back to the community,
right?
you know. So that's good. For once,
So
you're not just punching something or right, right. You would think that those things would be kind of common in that era, but
right, but hey, good luck on Kirk for
Kirk
getting a
recognizes the period from an old photograph, according to the memory alpha breakdown. Like
right, and it's like
photograph, you still have photographs?
still have
And
photographs. They say, man, damn, all right, all
like
right, Kirk,
my mom has a box, I think, but it's only 2024, almost 25. So I don't think I have any. All of mine are
mm-hmm.
right here.
Right. So like a normal person.
So yeah, they
So
get they
yeah,
get like accosted too by a cop, and they got to explain the ears and
yeah, Spock's got to explain the ears, and they got to explain the clothes and why they're taking clothes, and
and that he got his head caught in a mechanical rice picker. That's his
right.
excuse.
I'm
A
like,
mechanical
really,
ice
man?
picker.
Like, you just
You couldn't just
you
say
can't
birth defect.
you can't. I mean, that explains it right there. And hey, he's not gonna question any further. I mean, at least he shouldn't, anyways. So, but if you have to say, oh yeah, he is Tibetan, and he had to take a vow of silence. But then one day there was a big rice picker, and he tripped. Well, man, you get into that's just way too much. Getting too elaborate. He said it was a bright sunny day when the sun was out. It was a balmy 72 degrees. It's like, oh man,
Yeah, no, and I think it would just Vulcans look mostly human.
Right.
He could have
So
literally just said he's from foreign country and has some kind of birth defect. Not that having a birth defect like that would necessarily get you any better treatment during that time period on Earth,
right, but
but at least
but
it's not
it's at least a lot. It's a lot better story than a lot better and more believable than getting caught in the
the
right.
smartest dude on the ship, man.
Like I mean, even you had to know Spock. I mean, birth defect would have been a better way to go. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, us two goofballs on Rules of Nerdquisition figured this out within 12 minutes of our show starting. I mean, come
It's like,
on.
right? But that's neither here nor there. That's that. That wasn't our ship, and that's not our circus. That's not our monkeys. We're just here to talk about it. Yes.
And his tricorder is usually connected or in sync with the Enterprise's computer, which is no
Mm-hmm.
longer in existence.
And so, right. And so
So,
now that they have no way to know anything when McCoy is going to be there, what causes the whole issue in which the Enterprise disappeared, um, and just even that in general of how are they going to get back? You know, because well, no, I'll take that back because the Guardian of the Portal did say is that it's either it's a one and done thing. It's either you do it, you finish it, and you will instantly come back, or you're just gonna stay there. It is what it is. So, so I guess they kind of knew how they were going to get back, but they didn't know
right, but
how they were going to get back at the
right, and
same time.
they got to find the right time period to do it too.
Right.
Which I do know that they go about, the plan of building a computer out of rudimentary parts of the time period, but
Mm-hmm.
how do you program it with the information that you need that is within the Enterprise's data banks?
Yeah. It's
The
like how do
information is not there. Maybe you can make the device, but if it doesn't have an operating system,
right or any kind of some kind of interface, something.
no idea how that would work.
So, I mean,
Uh,
otherwise you just put together just a couple light bulbs and a rods and like a really crude time ham radio, I guess. But
yeah, kind of, because they couldn't even have use like TV tubes or anything like that because
yeah,
this was pre-TV.
yeah. So
They have radio.
I don't know.
Shout out to Jay Thomas over in the YouTube chat. Thanks for jumping in here on this somber rules of nerdquisition this week. We're just
So
engaging
we're
in some
trying.
escapism here. We're trying.
So we're trying.
But
Yeah. And
but
but
this is where Joan Collins comes in. This is where Joan
but
Collins
Joan
comes in. So
Collins shows up and and then all of a sudden, of course, Kirk, being Kirk, has to do what Kirk does, and he's like, "Hey,
hey, how you
how you
doing?
doing?"
Same old Kirk, but
And it's like Kirk. He's
she
always so even
at
stuck in past.
least he was truthful to her though when she asked what they were up to. He said, "Hey, we
Yeah,
stole some clothes, we ran from the cops." And she's like, "Oh, you're poor people," and she has a soft spot for poor people. So hey, you can have a job and I'll hide you here.
say, all right, sweet. So
And then
yeah,
Kirk's
Kirk
like,
is
"Oh
like,
yeah."
hey, all right, I still got it. Even in the
Like Spock,
past, even in the past, with no the past, no ship, still got it.
like Spock, don't you have a computer to build or something?
Right?
I gotta go get my Mac on or something.
So Spock is like, hey, Captain, we got stuff to do, right? You know that, right? It's Spock, chill, man, chill. Shit, look, said Spock, you see what's going on over here, man, right? Man, come on. And so yeah, Kirk Kirk decides, he's gonna do Kirk and
Gonna do Kirk.
it's
Of course
like,
he is.
hey,
And he's even more excited by Edith Keeler, because while they're having their
mm-hmm,
bread and soup, she's
So,
given this motivational speech about how in the future we're going to harness the power of the atom. We're going to travel to the
mhm.
stars and do all these amazing things. And
And
Kirk's over here
Kirk's
like, oh
like,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
right,
oh yeah,
yeah.
oh
But
yeah.
says, yes, you're right, but it's like, yeah. Said that's lovely. Yes, and it's so cute. You're right, of course, but it's cute.
It's cute, right?
And so
So
instantly,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
that starts the whole infatuation slash love interest slash want to give up my ship to spend the rest of my life with you, Kirk type of thing that he's got going on. It's just
Right. And since he's they've impressed Edith with their work in the basement that they were set to clean. She offers them a little apartment so
right.
Spock can, you know,
Spock can
in
do his build his
computer building,
computer
right?
and
And Kirk can get his Mac on because what else is he gonna do?
right. And so she sets him up with a job. So he's doing his thing, working and bringing home the groceries. While Spock is just you know, toiling away right at his computer, and then hey, he's bringing in money, he's bringing in the food, and then hey, he goes out. He goes out with Joan Collins. Goes out with Joan Collins. He's about to get some from Joan Collins.
He is, and Spock does something obviously out of necessity, but very outside of Spock's
Mm.
normal
Just
moral boundaries. While Kirk is out wooing Edith, he snatches
mhm.
some tools and uses his
Yes,
sensitive Vulcan ears to open up the combination and steal the tools. And of course,
yes, of course. And so Spock
Edith finds out, and
and
oh man, Kirk's game is on the line now.
said, yeah. And so he's like, he said, Spock, man, what you doing, man? What you doing? Hey, I need this tool. I needed a tool. And apparently, I guess Spock didn't know how to ask. Um, apparently, he's not used to asking. So yeah, he just said, by the time I'll be done, I'll just put it right back. Nobody will know. Yeah, that didn't quite work out. That's not gonna work out too well for you, man. So you can't be doing that, Spock. You can't be doing that. Come on, man. Tighten up, Spock. You know better. You know better, man. But anyways, so he gets his tool, and she's upset. He's upset. Kirk's upset. He's upset at Spock because Spock is cock blocking him, and so she's upset because he stole the tool, and Spock's upset because they're getting in his way. He's trying to build his computer, and so
So yeah,
Kirk,
so he's like, "I'll just walk you home.
yeah,
We'll leave the
we'll leave.
thief here." Even
He
though
said we'll leave Spock here.
he
He's got
does
the
talk her down,
tool. He's got the tool. He says he will bring it back, and known him for years. He's trustworthy, and that says he will bring it back. So eventually she calms down enough to where she'll allow Kirk to walk her home. They get to going back and forth and everything like that, and so she starts telling him about all of the plans that she thinks about with the peace summits and going to the stars and being able to travel moon and Mars and all the other places in between and going to other galaxies and yada yada yada. And of course, Kirk is like, I'm gonna get in them pants.
I'm getting in him. I'm getting it.
I'm
He
getting
he
in.
already knows. Yeah, he
I'm getting
knows.
them.
He's like,
I'm getting in them
'cause she,
pants.
she's completely enamored at this point with all the
Hmm.
stories and promise and hope that he's telling her about of the future of the world and that sort of stuff. But you know,
Yeah. And so,
no good deed goes unpunished, of course.
right.
And
So, but to his credit though, Spock finishes up, returns the tool, and so they fire up his time computer, and it burns out, causes a fire.
but not before he learns some very important information.
Correct. So knowing that the whole thing starts because of Edith dying.
Well, she's
So
supposed to die
when she's supposed to die versus she doesn't die.
because McCoy saves her. And that's what sort of screws
Yeah,
everything up in the end. Even though he's not there yet, he hasn't arrived yet. They're still doing
but they're
this.
still doing it. Yes. So they all know somehow it's centered around her, and when she dies, and when McCoy gets there. That's all they know so far. So now Kirk is like, "Oh yeah, so that means I got to spend more time with her." All right. So let me see if I can get the tip in before she dies.
Now, I still need to, we still need to address this in the sense that, I mean, sir, you are the captain of a starship. You have 400 people under your command, and your entire future has been erased for once, just for once.
Can you think with something else?
Can you think with something else? Can you something? I mean,
Can you think with this head instead of this head?
right? I mean, come on, come on. Now, this is not a Jillian situation from Star Trek 4 where she jumps on him as he's transporting away.
Right?
You
No, this
know,
is
this is
some.
him just getting all up in his feels. He was even ready with her. He was like, I
Yeah,
gotta go,
he.
girl.
Yeah, it was almost like a you know even if we don't save her, it wouldn't be all that bad. Even if
Right.
if
Maybe
we
he learned
don't,
his lesson.
right. And so needless to say, Spock goes back to it again, works on his computer again, builds it back up, and finds out a little bit more information this time. It definitely finds out that because of her dying, then that means that when she doesn't die, then eventually she happens to bump into the president, and she starts talking with the president about her peace ideas and sharing with everything about her ideas of splitting the atom, going to the stars, and whole nine. And so the president is like, "Oh yeah, I'm all on board with that." So they start peace talks. Germany instead of the United States, you know, uh, developing the atom bomb. Instead, that goes to
Hmm.
Germany, and then Germany bombs the shit out of the U.S. And
Right.
which then, of course, naturally just
Changes
changes
history
everything.
in
Change,
irrevocable ways. In
right?
irrevocable ways. So yeah, I mean, and then you get no Starfleet, you get no Enterprise. Hence the reason the Enterprise disappeared at the beginning of the episode. It's gone now.
Yeah.
So
So
and
and
and, and Spock is like, Edith
you just
must
gotta go.
die. She got to go, man. And Kirk is just,
Kirk
he's
is like,
struggling.
come on, man. Anything else? Come on, Spock. Anything. I didn't even stuck the tip in yet.
No,
And Spock is like, oh, nah, she gotta die. She gotta go. She gotta go. Which coincidentally, almost at the exact same time, Edith has an accident in which Kirk saves her, and Spock is like, hey, she could have died just if you didn't save her.
right.
And Kirk was like, Spock, I love her. Really?
It's
Like,
been 3 days, 4 days, my guy. Come
said
on. I
4 days.
have
Come
I've
on,
had
man.
some crushes hit pretty hard, pretty fast before, but I'm sorry, full blown. I'm in love with you.
Right?
I don't.
Not
I'm
four
not this.
days.
Not in 4 days. Not this. You don't know anybody well enough to want to spend that kind of
Yeah. Not to completely,
energy on.
yeah, not to completely, just
Screw the future.
screw the future. It's like, screw that.
Starfleet. Pshaw. As if I
Said,
cared.
right. So,
He needs one of those. And now I know why a starship is called she moments.
exactly.
like, dude, that was like 6 episodes ago. Come on. You were just like, you saved the whole world because you were like, nah, that doesn't affect me because I'm in love with my ship.
Right? And so now all of a sudden, now, just, see, you meet the right one. that just before and you're trying so hard to get the tip in, and just before it's like you gotta have your ship, put the tip in. Which one do you want?
Oh,
Hmm.
oh,
Said
Kirk,
I need a minute to
Kirk.
think about this. Say, Kirk, really, really,
Yeah,
man.
you're not being. I mean, I know Vulcans are more logical than humans, but he's not being very logical right now, and I'm
Exactly.
just not buying into it. But meanwhile,
And then
meanwhile,
meanwhile, then bum
elsewhere,
bum bum,
a
McCoy pops up.
psychotic McCoy appears. Right,
The
boom,
psychotic McCoy pops up, and then all of a sudden just yells out, "Murderers! Murderers!
Terrif- terrif-
Assassins!"
terrifies a poor homeless guy in the alley. Like,
Yeah, the
it's
homeless
freaking
guy's
out
just
on him.
running away. He's like, "Yo, man, what the hell? Is I gotta kill you? I gotta get." So of course he ran. Kind of, of
If
course he ran.
somebody's
It's like some.
running at me,
It's saying somebody's running at me and with a all sweaty and looks pale and hair all disheveled and saying, "I'm not gonna kill you," as he's running top speed towards me. Yeah. First thing I'm thinking is that this dude's gonna kill me.
right? Like, I'm not taking him for his word.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, you're on the LDS or something, man. I mean,
Like I mean, and oh man, so it sounds like you got a bad
oh
trip
my
going on there,
gosh.
buddy. You got a bad trip.
Well, given the week we've had, I kind of want a little bit of what McCoy's having right now.
Same,
Oh, hook me
same.
up. Who's your who's your dealer, boy, guy? I need some.
So, yeah. Said McCoy, who's your dealer, my guy? I need to know.
Right. So yeah, we got McCoy here
So
now, and
McCoy's
he's
here,
freaking
and
out, and
said, yeah, he's freaking out, and so he's, I won't kill you, murderers, assassins. I won't kill you. I tried to save you. Really, really. Mm.
but
So,
Edith finds him.
but
Edith
Edith
finds him.
finds him. After he's knocked himself out, worn himself out of the whole. I will kill you. I will kill you. So
Yeah, he's a or she's a bleeding heart, so she doesn't. She's the only one that
yes,
believes him when he's like, "I'm not gonna kill you." She's the only one. So
she's the only one that's like, okay, like the
like,
hell.
come, step into my parlor, gentlemen. Like,
It's like what the hell.
oh
So
boy.
Edith being Edith, she gets him a good, some place to sleep. Some
Yep,
place to
hides him
sleep
in
so
the
she
back
can
room.
hides him somewhere so he can sleep it off. And though he sleeps it off, he wakes up, and then of course, essentially him being him, the doctor being a doctor, he's got to analyze everything analytically instead of just realizing that I just pumped myself up full of a whole lot of dope, and I have no
Huh.
clue what the hell happened.
I have no idea where I am or what is happening at this moment, but yeah, for
Yeah,
some reason or another, they managed to like avoid each other for a few days. Like Spock and
yeah,
Kirk don't run into McCoy. They're just kind of doing their own things in the background. Spock's got his computer back up and running again,
yeah.
and
Trying
he's
to,
getting all that.
yeah. He's now that they know that it's about her, they know kind of why it's her. So now they have to figure out when, you know exactly what day. And that's where the kind of the issue is. And so yeah, they've been there for a couple days. McCoy's been there for a couple days, kind of sleeping it all off. And McCoy, being McCoy, he starts to analyze everything analytically. He says that, well, I must be dead, or either this, or I'm that, and da 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 da. So
And he's
Edie's like,
talking in ways that's freaking her out too. 'Cause she's like, "Wow, you don't talk like people
yeah, and she's
around
like,
here.
you
I
talk
know
like
this
a,
guy.
I know this guy. He talks like you.
Mhm. You want to
So
meet him?" And he famously says, "I'm a doctor, not a psychologist."
It's like
Another one of
so
his
a
McCoyisms.
McCoyism. Yes, and
McCoyism.
so McCoy, of course, being McCoy, and he's like, well, let me thank you. Let me do something to thank you for everything you've done for me. And so then she decides, she gets him a job. Or she's going to get him a job. She's going to, you know, put some feelers out in the city and get him a job. But right when she does that, she runs into Kirk.
Kirk and Spock are
Kirk and Spock.
outside, right? They're walking down the street doing their thing.
They're doing a thing. They're getting ready to kind of see if they can find McCoy. And then, he runs into
Oh,
her and
is that when she has the accident on the stairs, and that's when Spock catches her, right? Or not
that was
Spock.
after.
Oh, it was
Oh, that
after.
was that
Okay,
was before. Yeah. Um.
that was
Just
one of
before.
those
Just
things that
before.
happened, right?
Just before McCoy got there. And then, of course, naturally she helps out McCoy, and then and she runs into Kirk, and Kirk is and she said, hey, where you guys going? We Spock has got this experiment. We're gonna go do that. Where are you going? I'm going to try to find a job for McCoy. And he's like, McCoy, wait, no, Doctor McCoy, yeah. And then Kirk is like, Spock, we found him. We found him. He's here. So he goes over where
Yeah,
Spock is, but apparently they were living in the same goddamn building and never ran into each
right.
other.
Because Kirk tells Edith to stay on that side of the street, and he
Says
runs
stay
over
on that side of
to
the street. They
Spock. Yeah,
run up to the same
right.
side, and then all of a sudden,
McCoy comes out.
McCoy comes out at the same time. It's like you you three were
Family
in the same.
reunion!
So
Yay!
you three were in the same damn building. Are you
Right. Didn't even pass each other on the stairs.
right?
She almost died on the stairs, but they didn't even pass each other on the stairs. But they're all super excited to see each other and happy and all
And
that stuff. And
so
Edith does exactly what Kirk tells her not to do.
is to go right to them. So of course now she's walking across the street, just completely oblivious to everything that's happening around her. Just does not, and again, does not even look twice before crossing the street. Perhaps maybe
I
this is
guess
long before that.
ca- cars are still newish.
Right, I
I mean,
guess.
not they're not new, but new-ish, I guess. Have been around for
So
20 years or something like that. And
I don't know how well that why, but anyway, she doesn't
Kirk
look twice.
tries to, yeah, and Kirk tries to,
So McCoy tries to run out to save her, but then Kirk holds her, and then Kirk holds McCoy, stopping him from doing it. It's like, Jim, you know what you did? Yeah. And then of course
yeah.
Spock goes, he knows, he knows.
I love how on Memory Alpha it's got the picture of Kirk like he's all distraught with his hand up against the wall. The caption is Kirk's great loss. The person you met 4 days ago. Like if I met someone 4 days ago and they died today, I would, yeah.
I'd be
If I
sad,
liked
yeah, but
them,
I mean,
be
I
like, oh, that
wouldn't,
sucks, man.
right?
But a great loss, I don't know the person well enough yet.
I mean,
I could
I don't know him after 4 days enough to say, oh, it's a great loss like that. It's
I can
sad,
showcase empathy on a human level, but this is not my wife of 47 years passing
right?
away in front of me.
Right?
I mean, that's a very different thing.
So,
But,
but I
it
mean,
had to be done, and we have to save the universe.
but I think the main thing that Kirk just was about Kirk is that just he didn't have a chance to put the tip in first. I think he would have been all right. He may have been all right with the loss if he's able just to get one really good night. One really good night.
Uh,
I think he would have been all right.
I think I think in that sense they probably just did that, like you said, to give Kirk something to do in that story. Uh,
Yeah.
because he couldn't really build the computer. But at the same time, you do have to have. It is still one of my favorite episodes. So, but yeah,
Oh
they
yeah,
they
it is.
emerge back. They emerge back from the Guardian of Forever, uh, conveniently
Yeah.
enough, in their Star Trek uniforms, their Starfleet uniforms again.
So right, I mean, like, how does that happen? But anyways, really great episode. I liked it. As one of my favorites, and I like that the whole butterfly effect of everything. It's just that this one person that you don't ever think that this one random person would have such an impact on the future.
Right, exactly. Which is that's a very interesting thing to consider there because
Yeah, and you would
she
think
was
that.
not a historical figure. It's not like in,
Yeah,
say, First Contact, when they go back in time, they're like, oh my God, the Borg are trying to disrupt First Contact,
yeah.
you know?
It's not like
And
they.
Zefram Cochrane, who's a major historical figure.
Yeah, they're not. Essentially, they're not meeting like a Zephyr Cochrane. They'd be meeting like this one random guy that that served him a drink one time and gave him the inspiration to do a warp core, build a warp core.
Right,
You know,
right. It was a nobody, essentially. It was
like
essentially a nobody who,
just essentially nobody that just had to go to work that day. And if he didn't have to go to work that day, then it never would have happened. It just
and it was
essentially. But with her, it was just like she was just a random lady, just a random lady that just had just an idea about the future, and she just happened to bump into the right person at the right time.
absolutely.
And
Because usually in these time travel scenarios, it's like a reverse thing. Like we need to go back and, again, like the Borg, they're going back to kill a significant figure who is responsible for changing the future in
hmm
positive ways,
yeah,
versus allowing somebody to die whose continued life would affect the future in negative ways.
right,
So, and
yeah,
we all know that Germany winning the war would have been a horrible thing.
exactly, yeah. So it's definitely kind of it seems like it may have been like a part of an inspiration for Quantum Leap, just simply because of
Mm-hmm.
putting something back the way that originally happened. Yeah, even though it sucks and it's a horrible thing that they had to essentially let her die, but her death is the only way that essentially would save their lives. So it kind of puts you in that really big moral dilemma of, you know, you let her live and she has great ideas about the future and about peace, and it does happen, but it happens at the wrong time.
Roddenberry
Yeah.
actually ranked this episode as one of his 10 favorites of the original series. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something to keep
So
in mind there.
yeah, that definitely means something. Because just simply put, it makes you think, and it raises up a whole slew of questions as to this whatever random person you may walk by, in Target, or you may walk by, in Lowe's or Home Depot, or in Walmart, or whatever the case may be. This one random person that you don't ever think anything about could be the one person that would be could either to save the world or end it.
Yes,
And
and to be just to get these details out here, this is the first and only time that any swear word was ever used in the original series. At the end, Kirk says nothing more than once they contact the Enterprise, let's get the hell out of here. And while that's not a big thing anymore, we say it 20 times a day on this show or
Right.
anywhere else. It was a big deal back then. Another first for Star Trek to kind of really get that out there and solidify the serious tone of this episode. Many people consider it to be the best episode of Star Trek Next Generation or Star Trek the original series. We make fun of things that happen in the episode, but that's just who
Yes.
we are. And you know,
But
but it
yeah,
is
that's just us.
largely considered to be one of the very best, if not the best. So just
Yeah.
a couple of throwouts though. There was an actor, John Harmon, passed away August 6, 1985. He played Rodent. He was one of the people in Edith Keeler's Mission. So
Okay.
just wanted to get that out there. Again, I couldn't use Joan Collins because she's still alive, but we get somebody. I think it's safe to say that at least every episode of TOS is going to have somebody who's passed away. I'm going.
Yeah.
Not really doing anything that's super difficult right now to get my kill to death ratio and keeping it 100%. So it's it's like
Well, usually with
it's like if
TOS,
you trip, you're going to hit the ground. I mean, it's 100% guaranteed.
right?
If you
Yeah.
fall down, you're going to hit the ground. So, uh,
but
but
yeah.
John Winston was also in this episode, who would later go on to portray Commander Kyle, the transporter chief in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. So he has a
Okay.
couple of different but in this episode, he also
Mm.
portrayed Lieutenant Kyle. So we can see Lieutenant Kyle came back later on in the series and actually has been promoted.
Oh.
Um,
Well. All right. All right. Lieutenant working
we get
hard off screen.
working hard off screen. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And he was part of interesting thing about him is that he was part of the Star Trek New Voyages. It was like that fan based
Mm.
continuation of Star Trek online.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was
Okay.
involved with that too. So he's obviously very much um in it for the love of Trek. You know,
Nice.
John
Nice.
Winston,
Yeah.
19 September 2019 at the age of 91, which incidentally is the same age as Joan Collins today, who is still active, still listed as an active actor.
Wow.
So
Wow. And she's gonna,
right.
I guess, keep doing it till she dies. I guess. I mean, that's she's gonna be. I guess be like I guess like Betty White, just doing it till she can't do it anymore. Literally.
Literally. And while we're on the subject, since you've invoked the great name, the great one, Betty White,
Yes.
the world has
Yes. Yes.
gone to
Yes.
absolute shit since she passed away.
That is correct.
Was that not the catalyst for all of this?
Yes.
I mean,
Shit. Yes. Everything went to shit as soon as she left us. But
it's
what's funny?
interesting that I'm sorry,
Oh,
go
I
ahead.
was about to say is that it was funny is that it is that hell was such a controversial word, back then, and just kind of the language that now is because during the '80s, the biggest thing it was a big controversy of saying hell or damn, and then
Hmm.
in the '90s it became shit, and then now
And
now
shit,
after
ass, damn, hell, everything but the F word. And even then, on certain late night TV, you can get away with one.
yeah, well, I know Comedy Central after 11 o'clock, it's f bombs all night, so that's where we're at now. from from the controversial hell into which now it's just everyday vernacular now. So
Which brings me to my next point, and the next topic of discussion here, which again, I don't know what it is about our shows and how they sync up with modern events.
mm-hmm.
Um, in this episode, one of the themes that Kirk and Edith Keeler talked about was the potential for this wondrous future, this great future where everything's going to be, all these things we're going to do.
Yeah.
And right now, we're talking about how over the years it's become more and more acceptable to use more and more swear words on TV, while we also stand 4 days removed 4 or 5 days removed from the possibility of a complete regression of
Right.
that kind of society. I mean,
Yes.
are we going to, this Puritan movement, this get rid of everything that's not Jesus and white and all of and masculine and whatever, we're supposed to be moving forward.
Yeah.
I,
And it just it how are we moving forward when we don't have the freedom to do all of these things, that to express ourselves, to to love who and what we want to love, you know? And if we only thing that we can do is just God and Trump, God and Trump, God and Trump. It's like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that.
and I, as a white person, do not understand where other people who look like me get this idea that we're superior simply because we migrated out of Africa and went north and we're like, oh my God, there's no sun. So over time, the
Hmm.
melanin drained away from our, evolved out of our skin because we needed more sun. Because apparently humans plus sun equals good. That's a good thing. And when we moved to the land of no sun and evolved, or at least, I'm not necessarily evolved, just adapted in a way, uh, cause I'd say in the span of human history, this would be a minor evolutionary adaptation versus a major evolution. It's an environmental adaptation. It's not even, because we're still the same type of Homo sapiens that
Right?
migrated out of Africa in the first place. There's only one species of Homo sapiens on this planet. Race is a construct we've created. Um,
Yeah.
so but it's no different than, like, you look at Sherpas who live in like Nepal and Pakistan, live up in the mountains, or the Inuit people. What's their evolutionary adaptation? Well, they have larger hearts because they live in low oxygen or cold environments. I
Hmm.
saw this episode of this is an interview, I even think, once, or maybe it was on Discovery. This dude was in northern Alaska interviewing some Inuit people, and he was going through the process of how the Inuit people build igloos.
Okay.
This guy, this newscaster takes off, he's a white dude. He takes off his mask and his gloves and they put him on a thermal camera. And you can literally watch within minutes the color draining from his fingertips, from his face, the
Oh
extremities,
man.
ears. And you're
Yeah.
watching it.
Yeah.
This Inuit guy has got like some pullback mittens on with his fingers exposed and his hood down. And he's like generating heat because their hearts are like 10-15% larger than people that live in warmer climates.
Okay.
So his
So
heart's just over
yeah.
there like boom, boom. It's a furnace just pumping,
Yeah.
keeping him warm. And the poor white guy is like slowly freezing to death right before our eyes. And that is saying
Oh
something,
man.
that people of lighter complexions are still more predicated towards colder environments where there is less sun, because that is why we look like that. No other reason. We were not ordained by some mysterious heavenly figure. I'm sorry to break it to you all. There's nothing fancy and special and superior about us. It's just because of where we lived for many, many years. So
Yeah. But
sorry to rain on your parade. I can't say it. I'm still going to be nice during our time slot. And I'm sure that we'll get nasty enough tonight on the Villains View at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So that'll be fun.
yes,
But
that's going to be a lot of fun.
it's gonna be a lot of fun. There's gonna be a lot of rage, I'm sure. A lot of rage. But
And let's
again,
see.
back to Star Trek. This is a good episode. I did like it. We're
That was
one
some fun.
episode away.
So looks like we have some comments on our YouTube, not on GCPR YouTube, but on our YouTube.
Oh, we do.
Yes.
Are we also broadcasting on Rules of Nerduisition?
Yes,
Yes, we are.
yes, we are.
I did not. I was watching the other one.
Well, the
Oh, yeah, Jay Thomas looks like she bounced back and forth between both of them. Yeah, we're in both places, but hi, Jay Thomas. Yeah, we all have potty mouths, girl, all of us. So,
so
we're trying to keep it fun with Star
uh,
Trek, and we don't have to be disgusting all the time, but we still do in subtle ways.
right.
We
So
talk about getting the tip in, but we won't.
right. It's just jokes. These just jokes. So let's see. It's Whisper at Felice. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but anyways, we'll go with the question. First question they ask is just finished TOS, had never seen Star Trek before. Now I'm starting TNG. Would you recommend that everyone starts with TOS who hasn't seen Star Trek?
You want to take that one first
Um,
or not? I've got an answer.
well, I would say personally, myself personally, you could just to get yourself familiar with some of the characters because they will be mentioned in other spin-off series. I myself personally started with TNG, and it wasn't until later on I would see episodes of TOS, and of course, the movies and everything like that to get myself caught up and familiar with the characters because they were mentioned, throughout TNG and DS9 and everything. But I started off with TNG, and um, and so it had me hooked. So that was me. That was my experience, and so I started out with that, and so I would definitely recommend, um, for someone like me, either
So you didn't
TNG,
even
Voyager,
did you not see
DS9.
any of the movies before you started with TNG?
No,
Interesting.
no,
Right.
there
So you
was
had no
TN.
exposure.
No, it was because all the things I had heard of through pop culture of beam me up, Scotty. You know, I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer. I all these things I would hear these things, but I never saw them. But it wasn't until TNG, and then that was my first exposure to Star Trek. Actually seeing Star Trek, and then the which is embarrassing. The first Star Trek movie I saw was Save the Whales, and then I got myself caught up to it. But yeah, that's my experience, and um, but I would say any series you could start off with, and yeah, you would definitely enjoy it. But I would just say, if you wanted to watch any other series, just kind of get yourself familiar with other characters that are mentioned, or even whatever series you start out with saying, uh, characters from other spinoffs come in. Yeah, but it each one of these series they're their own standalone series, but it's all tied into the whole Star Trek universe. So I know it's a kind of cop out answer, but yeah, any one of them really you could start off with, and you would enjoy it.
You could.
Mm.
I agree with that. Now, my experience was very much different. I mean, neither of us were alive while TOS was on the air. It was canceled before both of us were born.
Yeah.
In 1969. So after 2 and 3/4 seasons, 2.5 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with it, watching it with my dad in syndication. My dad was into, as we talked about with like Tom McClare and other episodes. My dad watched all those old shows,
Yeah.
Lost in Space, Space 1999, Star Trek. So I had that exposure growing up. I saw all the movies in order as they came out. And by the time TNG hit the air, I was anticipating it. I was like, yes, more Star
Mm-hmm.
Trek. So mine was different, whereas Gilbert's kind of going in and thinking, wow, this is something new. Let's check it out. I'm like, oh, I know Star Trek. Here it comes. But I agree with Gilbert. You can start with TNG. Are there certain episodes of TOS that I think would benefit you for some of the lore and backstory? Absolutely. But
Mhm.
even people who have never watched Star Trek know who Kirk and Spock and Scotty is. They've heard "Beam Me Up, Scotty" and "He's
Right.
dead, Jim." They've heard all these idioms and cliches before, so it's not something that's necessary. But for great stories, I say this all the time: TNG, Voyager, and DS9, they are the big three. TOS may be the beginning and may be beloved by all, but those are the big three. I mean, that is my opinion is Star Trek's golden era.
Yeah.
So
Now, don't get me
those
wrong.
three series,
Don't
perfect.
don't get me wrong. I love the new stuff. Discovery, Picard, Strange New Worlds. I love those. But just I agree with Gretchen is that Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and TNG. That was the golden era. So
Where did this question come from again?
that was from the Rules of Nerdquisition YouTube channel.
Oh, really?
As in our
No.
comment section. And next question is, let's see. Since you mentioned Vulcans are more logical. I really found it illogical for them to fight to the death in uh was it episode 1 season 2 or and sacrifice their best fighter for a bride. Oh, you talk about I guess um when Kirk had to fight Spock over T'Pau. But again, that's
I
Vulcan
get it.
marital society because
Mhm.
her 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 logical thinking was that she would get what she wanted either way by picking Kirk to fight Spock.
Right. And there's a little bit of back lore there too when it comes to Vulcans, as far as their like, their purging of emotions and stuff like that is obviously a big thing. But those raw base emotions are still there, which is why every 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
adult male Vulcans go through, at least when they enter puberty, they go through what's Ponfar, which is
Which is sends
essentially
them.
the burning of the Vulcan blood, and it sends them into these rages. They even show that, so it's something that Vulcan males can't necessarily control about themselves,
Yeah,
even with the purging of emotions. So there is a physical reason for why that happens.
yeah. So, and again, that's something you would learn in that lore of it. But all right, next question. Let's see. Last episode in season 3 was so much fun. Why did they cancel Star Trek original series?
Ratings, simple answer:
Yeah,
the ratings weren't there.
yeah, it just wasn't get the ratings. In
Which is
which
interesting because it launched into syndication not a year or two later because of demand for it to come back.
right, and then because of that demand, it sparked the movie, in which the movie essentially it saved the franchise as much as we
Saved and
said.
relaunched.
Yeah, it
Because they
saved it.
were planning. Roddenberry was considering Star Trek Phase Two at that time.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to do a second Star Trek series. I don't know if I think it was supposed to be a continuation of the original series. Once that interest in syndication had really spawned um, a renewed love for Star Trek, it just eventually didn't get off the ground running and morphed into Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which was released in
Yeah.
1979, which we will be reviewing, as we will every movie in our season finales. We've only got one more episode to go with TOS season one with Operation Annihilate. That'll be next Sunday,
Yeah.
and then the following week. I don't know if we're going to do another love letter episode before the season finale or not. We haven't discussed that yet, but we will conclude season one of Rules and Requisition with a review of Star Trek: The Motion Picture,
All
and
right. Yep.
that should be fun. Can't wait for that one.
Let's see. The next question. I think it may be more for me than it would be for you. Let's see. Do you enjoy TNG more having finished TOS rather than forcing yourself to watch TOS compared to having finished the newer TNG? So I guess saying which one do you like more, TOS or TNG? I personally,
TNG.
um,
Can't lie about it.
I'm not gonna say I
Sorry.
like one better than the other. You know,
That's
I,
yeah. I mean, that's a good way to put it.
yeah,
It's
it they're different. They're both good in different ways. You know, so
TOS for its time
yeah,
was excellent.
yes, because
TNG for its time was excellent.
right,
So, and even though I got to be honest here, I think TNG more than either Voyager or, you know, TNG more, Voyager to a lesser degree, Deep Space Nine not so much. Deep Space Nine hit the ground running, in my opinion.
mm-hmm,
They were just like we figured out. TNG suffered the first couple seasons.
yeah. I think
It
well,
was it was a bit rough
it
to
was
get
rough. It
through
was kind
the
of
first couple seasons.
getting their footing. It seemed like to me, kind of getting their
Mm-hmm.
footing to um, distinguish itself from the
Track
original
2.0.
series. So
Yeah,
trying
from being
to
Track
make it
2.0.
its own series, but yet still tie in with the original series. And so it took them a couple first couple seasons to kind of get that down, but once they did, yeah, it morphed into its own thing. And then when DS9 hit, I think at that point they figured out how to know create that spinoff to where it's its own story, it's its own thing, but yet still tied in, with TNG and with the original as well.
Right.
But
There were some
I
good,
would say,
good episodes though throughout there. I mean, Heart and Glory is a great TNG first season episode. It's one of your
oh
first
yeah,
really Worf centric episodes,
mm-hmm.
but everybody loves Worf, right? I mean, come on. He is
But
he's the man. He's one of the great characters in the show, in my opinion. So
but I never consider myself like forcing myself to watch original series. Is whenever I could watch it, I did, but it just wasn't always available to me because see, when I was growing up, I didn't have cable, so whatever just showed up on broadcast TV was just there. And so my first exposure to actually watching Star Trek, this original series, was through Blockbuster, in which I know that's dating myself, but yes, it was through Blockbuster, through video rentals, was how I first saw episodes of Star Trek, in which, again, I never saw all of them, not until fast forward until present days, in which, hey, streaming, now they have all the episodes. And so, yeah,
yep.
I never consider myself forcing myself to watch all the original ones. I was just I'm like a giddy nerd in a candy shop. So now I have all the stuff I can watch. Now I can, you know, I feel my OCD feeling complete now because I get to, see all this. And so
I
now
would
I got myself I got to get myself caught up on
right.
Enterprise, to complete my OCD.
I still have to get through all of Discovery, but I would say probably the biggest difference between your and my experience with Star Trek is that again, with the anticipation of watching Star Trek and having the TOS already in my mental library, I was able to better pick up on nuances and cameos and callbacks to the original series a lot easier, because
Mm-hmm.
I knew characters and events. There are episodes in the very first season of TNG that reflect on events that happened in TOS. So
Yeah,
without having
yeah,
that
yeah,
knowledge of seeing them, you may not understand where the significance of the event. You'll still understand what's happening in the episode though and be able to watch it. You just won't have that added nuance. That's all.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing about it is that they do that, just in case if you wanted to go back and watch episode relating to it to get that nuance, you can, but it's not going to detract from the story that you're watching now. But
No,
let's see.
absolutely not. And that's why we've got so much. I mean, I think we're kind of both though still trying to we want to get through these first three seasons of TOS, which again, I love them. They're the foundation of Trek, but there's so much Trek I want to talk about. So much that has affected me so much more. I can't wait to get to the big three. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I'm just super excited to start down that. Once we start down the dark path, forever will it dominate our destiny. I mean,
All right. So the next question. Next question they have. Uh, do you think? Do you? Oh, do we think that TOS could have made the pilot Cage into a better two-part episode? I mean,
yes, and that's
yeah,
exactly what they did with the menagerie.
yes. And if you look back in into our playlist, into exclusives, then you'll see an interview with Chris Hunter. Chris Hunter is the son of Jeffrey Hunter, who played Captain Pike.
And we
And
reviewed that episode with him on the show with us.
yes, and so he was telling us, you know, background information about Trek, how it was presented, and the involvement, his dad had with it, and the whole nine. Yeah, it's really good, real good, interesting episode. You should definitely check it out.
So the
Uh,
let's see what here. What you're talking about in your next, well, it's just a comment really. You're talking about TOS episode in season three where they're trapped at different time periods. Is that where
yes.
they went to Memory Alpha to the library place and then they jumped through you could like jump. The citizens of the planet had all left, right?
Oh yes, 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 yes,
They went
yes,
to
yes.
different because the planet was in danger and like
Mm-hmm.
Spock ends up in some like Spock and McCoy end up in some Arctic place where they meet this woman who's trapped there. I think that's the one you're referring to. And,
Mm-hmm.
and Kirk was somewhere else. Um, I've, I have to go back and watch them. I try to watch all of them before we do a show because I don't have the name of it right off the top of my head. So I shall consult the article.
I shall consult the article.
I think oh, there's some good episodes in season three. All our
Right? Yeah.
all our yesterdays, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk spends the last hours of a doomed planet in a library with extraordinary database, which strips 50 centuries of Vulcan civilization from Mr. Spock. 50 centuries. Okay, maybe that's why he's changing. That was another Star Trek first, by the way, bringing up the Uhura kiss.
Oh
They
yes.
were they were forced to do that by the mind controlling Greek people. So
See,
yeah, and
yes,
that one I
and
believe is a season two episode, if I'm not incorrect. But I could no Plato's stepchildren. That's in the third season as well. So
and again, that one sparked a lot of controversy as well.
yeah, let's take a. I want to do a little fast forward, take a look at what we can expect in season two of Rules and Requisition. So yeah, as mentioned by Whisper of Felis, that yes, the very first episode is a mock time. That's then we get was it Changeling with Nomad. Remember Nomad?
Oh man.
Um, let's see, Doomsday Machine is another good one. We will get our second and final appearance with Mud, Harry Mudd, with all of his
um,
android people.
Again, Harry Mudd is just one of those guys you just want to punch in the face. Just
Did you see him in? Wasn't he was he was in Discovery, was he not?
that he was. And it was
And
played.
he was way different.
He was played by Rainn Wilson. think that's I think that's
Yes, you are correct.
see, I just got a whole bunch of just useless knowledge up here.
Interesting. That's
uh
good. Yeah, I'm glad you know that. But yeah, he was kind of vicious.
yeah,
Like he kept killing that one dude over and over again by like repeating time just so he could kill the guy in fantastic and horrible ways every time.
yeah. So yeah, and as I said, Harry Mudd's one of those characters you just want to punch in the face. Like just
He
when you
is.
see him, you just want to just
Especially the Roger C. Carmel version of him. But
ah
yeah, Whisper Felix, you are very correct, and we've mentioned this, and that there are multiple episodes where they have to contradict a sentient computer into destroying itself.
yes,
We talked about the irony of that already because we had one of those already, which
yes.
was the Operation, not Operation Annihilate. That's next week's episode. The
So,
one where the computer was, you all have
oh
to,
gosh,
the simulated
what was
war.
his what was his name?
I can't remember now.
I know
There's
it
just
was
sometimes there's so much.
Archon. No,
Yes, yes, Return of the
or
Archons.
Carnage the Archons. Yes.
Wasn't that one it? Yes, and
Da, 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 da.
but yeah, that was another one. So they do that a lot apparently. Um, Computers are very susceptible to um, tongue twisters and mind games and
And just and puzzle games apparently.
puzzle games and stuff like that. Well, and if
Like,
you think about it, they get even more complex when in the episode I, Borg of Star Trek: The Next Generation, when their original
mhm.
plan is to introduce a very complex mathematical algorithm into the visual attachments of
Yeah,
Q and send him back. And then once it's downloaded into the
into the
collective,
collective
they'll
and
start to
I'll break
solve
them
it.
down. Yeah,
And each solution creates more questions.
right.
So thus shutting down the entire collective, which it does some well, no, they,
It
they
did.
don't go
It
through with that plan. It's his individualism, which,
yeah. They decided to go with instead of
and that
this.
makes no sense to me because
Yeah,
don't they just
because that didn't make
assimilate
any sense either.
individuals? They assimilate individuals all day, every day.
Yeah. So it's like
It's like he
that.
was an individual, so they assimilated him, but then he was kind of unassimilated when he regained his individuality. So he came back as like double
Mhm.
individual. It's like I'm
It's
not
like
just an individual, I'm really individual now. So,
so.
screw
Screw
you, Borg.
you. And it's and it's like what? No, why? What? Like
Sometimes the plot devices just don't make sense.
yeah. And here you are with the absolute perfect the perfect solution right here. And instead you're just like, nah, we're good. Just let them go back and just say, hey, screw you, Dad. Then yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
yeah, there, I don't get it. I don't get it now. Again, sometimes the plot devices just don't make any sense. So that's why I always recommend like getting like the Star Trek Encyclopedia by Michael Okuda. I think is a fantastic book because it gives a lot of those other not necessarily canon alternatives that we've talked about before. Was Trelane a Q?
right?
Was the Doomsday Machine created by a species that was combating the Borg, and that it was so powerful and able to destroy Borg cubes that required it itself required to destroy whole planets just to fuel itself
Yeah.
because the Borg were
And
so immensely powerful. There's a lot of those little side stories that you can always read into that I think are pretty cool. So I like that.
yeah. The Let's see. What's this question here? Do we think that we'll ever reach a point where words uttered by Lincoln will be brushed off like Uhura did as nonsensical words and will not cause offense? I think referring to that episode in which she had to kind of essentially almost had her memory wiped and had to relearn everything.
Wow, I'm drawing a blank.
I remember that was an episode in which she lost her memory and essentially had to relearn, just everything. And the only thing that she knew was just her first language. Her first language was, I think, was Swahili, and then
Swahili,
had to
yeah.
learn English, and then had to learn math, and then science, and then everything else all over again.
I'm looking it up because I don't. I'm really drawing a blank on that episode. Oh yeah, it was the changeling. It's the woman nomad. He wipes her mind.
Okay,
It
yeah.
wipes her mind. This unit's memory banks are empty.
Yeah, so um oh, he said Lincoln said the N word to Uhura and she brushed it off because she said it
Oh
was an
yeah.
old nonsensical word that had a non-meaning today. Oh. Okay.
Now I know. Now
Okay.
I never. I remember that now. Yes. I
Okay.
okay.
Now I got yes, I got
On
up
the
to speed now.
Savage Curtain.
Yeah.
That was on the Savage Curtain. That's the one where McCoy or not McCoy, where Kirk and Spock team up with Surak and Lincoln
Yes,
to
yes, yeah.
fight Kahless and Commander Green or Colonel Green and some other um, alien dude, something or other. I don't remember who the other guy was now, but yeah, he calls her the charming N word, and then not even that. I mean, they're using the standard terms like Negro, which is
Yeah.
a word defining of somebody from a particular part of the world. It wasn't like he walked up to her and was like, "Hey," there were
So
no
right,
hard
yeah.
ers. There wasn't even the uhs at the end. Which that would have been horrifying if it did that on TV. I'd been like,
It's
"Wow."
like whoa.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I'm
I
looking at it. I've never said that word before. It sounds kind of derogatory to me, but I'm not in a position to even to say one way or the other. But I see her point is that
but
yes, in that day and
in that
age,
day and
black
age, at
people
that
and white
time, yeah.
people are has nothing, means nothing,
Yeah,
other than
it's
that's the
just
part of
it's a
the world I'm
word.
from.
Yeah.
It's a word. It's I'm tall, I'm short, I'm black, I'm white, whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Will they get to a point that they will Ooh,
in our lifetime, probably not.
mm, yeah, probably not. Not within our lifetime, especially not with the political climate of today.
Not with the political climate. So I would say that using the N word as a slur, using the T slur,
It's
I don't think that those are going away anytime soon. So,
yeah.
um, as long as there's somebody
Hmm.
around who looks down on other people, that is a mass global evolution that needs to take place. A mass
Yeah.
maturation of the planet that is long away.
Long.
We've said this, but the best way to get humans all together, we honestly need aliens to attack.
Ozymandias had the right idea.
Mm-hmm.
Ozymandias had the right idea in the Watchmen, because
Give us a unifying cause.
to give us all something to fight against. That's it.
Right. Dr. Manhattan is making everyone believe Dr. Manhattan is responsible for destroying how many, what was it? Millions and
So
millions of people.
millions, probably billions.
Was it? I don't remember
I
the
don't know,
exact
but all I know
number.
is
It's been
that
a while since I
yeah.
read Watchmen, but yeah. And that thus make the whole planet hate him. Aliens,
Hmm.
Ozyman, one singular person that is so absolutely. We thought we had that, but apparently not.
Right?
I thought we had that one person who who was we could all get behind and be like, they are genuinely awful. Don't you agree? Yes, I agree, absolutely.
Oh
But
yeah,
no,
yeah. Oh yeah. That guy sucks.
the guy sucks bad. But apparently he's not the worst. And that in itself is terrifying.
Right.
That is
Uh,
terrifying. So
but oh my
yeah,
goodness.
you're
So
right. Especially in the way that he says it seems kind of weird. But I don't know the way they talked during Lincoln's time. I'm not really
no, I mean,
familiar with.
I have no idea either. So I have no clue. I mean, it's not like there was. It's not like there were any kind of recording.
No, I mean
Like
you could go and read books like Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn,
right.
especially Huckleberry Finn, because between Huck's relationship with Jim,
Mm-hmm.
you get a lot of that lingo of the time period, which is ridiculous that they're banning that book um, in a lot of schools because it was very accurate representation. Certainly, Samuel Clemens never meant to say it in a derogatory way. This is the time frame in which he lived,
Mm-hmm.
and he was
Yeah.
reflecting it. So, but yeah, there are no radio recordings back then or anything like that. We're still it take Huckleberry Finn took place in the 1830s, 1840s. You're
Right.
still you're still 80
So I
years
mean,
before Spock built his miraculous computer in Edith Keeler's
right.
upstairs apartment. So,
I mean, it's not like you can't. There's no 4K videos anywhere or anything like that. So it's like, but but no, not in our lifetime.
sadly, it just like we talked about at the end of the review portion of this episode. It's like Star Trek is supposed to give us this hope. The whole episode was about giving us hope for what's going to happen in the future, protecting that future, building that future that is so bright. And here we are thinking we're moving forward so many years, and then we just come to a screeching halt. And as much as we try to muster this hope and for a better future, we lost everything. Like we lost,
Yeah.
oh my God, a unified government under one of the worst people to ever walk this planet.
Yeah.
Can only laugh so I
It's
don't cry.
oh my
So
god.
I don't know, but we will keep doing what we do. Again, this episode for us was a little bit off because like we're still in shock. I think, like we
Yeah,
said, we've
we're
all gone
still
through the 727 stages of grief: disbelief, disappointment, anger, rage, defiance, resilience, despair, hopelessness. We felt it all.
so we're going through it. We are going
We're
through the
going through it.
ringer.
But I'm
But
still excited the fact that we have managed to get through almost a complete season of this show.
yeah,
30 plus episodes in,
30 plus episodes, still going strong. We
season
got some.
finale on the cusp.
So we need to start getting up off our asses and send some emails out and
Yes.
get some more guests back in because
Mhm.
um I know Steve Warnack. Steve, I know you're listening. If you better be listening, Steve. If not,
We hope so.
if not, man, because Steve needs to come back. We need to talk a little bit more Helios. So we got to do that.
Yeah, we
Um,
should get a Helios update. So maybe we should reach out to him. Maybe he'd like to come on for the season 2 season premiere because we're calling them seasons only because we're aligning them up with the seasons of Star Trek. We will not be
yeah.
taking a break. At least we
No, we're
haven't
not
planned
taking.
on it. No,
Not
we're gonna
planning on
do
it.
season. We're gonna do the season finale review of Motion Picture, and next week will be season 2, episode 1,
Yeah. So
and
yeah,
we will keep going because this is what we do to keep our sanity and just have fun and talk about nerdy stuff. So
that's the only thing we could do. So yeah.
let's reach out to Steve. Let's
So
reach
we
out.
reached out to
There's some other
Steve.
people involved as well that we wanted to get on the show
Yeah.
that we're talking about coming on. So let's talk to them and maybe we can get some nice announcements and some people on here.
Yeah, it's better to know. Um, because I did hear from George and saying that he had talked to Steve and Steve had asked about coming back, and I was like, yeah, man. So we
Absolutely, absolutely.
need to send a message out to him. So Steve, you need to come back here. If not, we will be highly disappointed if you do not come back here and talk to us about Helios because we need we need to know about Helios. We need some deets. We need to
And
let
some deeds, yeah.
yep, our audience needs to know about Helios, in which yes. So anybody check out the check out our exclusive interview with Steve Warnack, and which he talked about Helios and uh,
His work on
his
Deep
uh,
Space Nine.
his Deep Space Nine episode. Um, Great interview, super nice guy, and yeah, and Steve, we need to have you back.
All three people we've had on have been fantastic.
Yes.
Chris Hunter, Steve Warnick, and Tom McLaren. You guys were fantastic, and our audience continues to grow. So, I mean, we're on multiple platforms now,
Mm-hmm.
live on the radio every week. So, we do have a set time slot now, and we're getting more exposure. We've got a YouTube, or not YouTube, I'm sorry, a TikTok page now at the Rules of Nerquisition. And Angry over here has been diligently posting some of our coolest clips, from
Yes.
interviews past. So check those out. Those are very awesome, and we hope to continue to spread the word further and just get out there and talk about the things we like to talk about.
So yeah, definitely check out all our videos and stuff like that. Our love letter videos, those are really good. Those are some good ones where we talk about just different subjects,
Different genres,
different
different
genres,
series.
different series, everything like that. And so yeah, we got more of those coming out. Of course, naturally, just like how Gretchen said, we got the radio show, the live streams, and everything we're going through with those. And yeah, get some more guests
You can
in.
catch our live recordings if
Mm-hmm.
you missed it, or missed the live broadcast. They're over on YouTube. You can hear them there and on Spotify at Rules and Requisition. You can listen to podcast format if you just want to listen to us talk while you're driving cross country or something. I don't know, or to and from work, whatever. We give you
Yeah,
all the things and the stuff,
we have
all
all the
the
things
stuff,
everywhere
the
and the
stuff.
everywhere and the stuffs.
Right. And maybe after Operation Annihilate, maybe we'll do another love letter in between that and the season finale review of Motion Picture. I want to do some real research for that one. I'm going to do an in-depth review of that movie. I think we owe that to
Yeah,
our listeners and our viewers and stuff like that. I am definitely going to hold off on the Darth Vader love letter episode. The timing just seems off.
yeah, and
I've still
yeah.
got Obi-Wan's words ringing in my head right now. This is Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to report
Glory
that the Jedi Order and the Republic have
have
fallen.
fallen.
I'm gonna hold off on that for a while. I'm not even wearing my ring, so it just I need to find something positive to do a love letter episode on. I wanted to do some other sci-fi movies, that we love. Because what was we were talking about? I don't know if it was I think it was on Sound of Coffee with Thomas this past week. He brought up how Dennis Quaid is turning out to be as crazy as Randy Quaid, or was that on Villain's View last? I can't remember.
That was Sound of Coffee.
Sound of Coffee.
Yeah,
Because it sucks so bad because something that didn't come. Enemy Mine is one of my favorite, like, obscure sci-fi movies.
same.
I love that movie. And Dennis
Yeah,
Quaid's in it. And it's one of Louis Gossett Jr.'s best performances. I mean,
yeah.
but
And
oh, Dennis, why'd you have to go and and pull cousin Randy or whatever his name is from
It's just disappointing. Like you just,
Vacation because yeah, y'all just crazy now. I mean,
oh,
that's a good
so
question. No,
who?
I think it improves. I think it improves the whole conflict with Vader on the Death Star in several ways. First of all, I now understand why um Alec Guinness's version referred to Vader as Darth.
Yes.
Like, only a master of evil, Darth. Because Darth is a title. It's not
Mm.
a name, it's a title. So it just means it's Sith for Lord. I mean, that's all
Right.
it
Yeah.
means. So it's almost like the word Sith Lord is like it's a
It's
little
there.
redundant.
Yeah.
So, but
But I will say that one that fan edit that somebody did on YouTube that
mhm.
expanded the that original fight between Vader and Obi-Wan and just added so much depth within and just like the dialogue near the end of it and just showing that echoes of you were my brother Anakin, I loved you, and then from my perspective the Jedi are evil, and just showing
Yeah.
just giving bringing more emotion into that scene as to why they fought so hard, not only just because they were just just good, they're just not only just that good, but as to what it was so emotional for them.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And it is uh FX it in post. FXITINPOST on YouTube, who did the Star
Mhm.
Wars SC-38 reimagined.
Yes.
It is a fantastic re-edit of Obi-Wan and Vader's fight from the Death Star. It's much faster paced. There's more
Mhm.
moves. It's it's hardcore.
So, yeah.
It's
It's
hardcore.
it's definitely a lot better than just Vader swinging his lightsaber and then just Obi Wan just becoming a pile of clothes. It's a lot
Right,
better.
because even in the original cut of A New Hope, before it was called A New Hope, which yes, I remember, I saw A New Hope in the theaters before it was A New Hope, before it just didn't have nothing. It just said when after a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, the crawl came up. It did not say Episode 4. It did not say
A New
anything. It
Hope
just
or anything. It's just
right. It was just the
the
words.
words.
It was a dark time for in the galaxy or something like that. I can't remember the exact words, but they intercut this, but it really that scene. Look, even Vader, they looked like two old guys just swinging sticks at each other.
Yeah.
It was clunky and there was no rhythm to it whatsoever.
And so yeah,
And
and I definitely liked it because it added that extra layer to it. Because I mean, here's we've seen through from all the way from Phantom Menace to up until that point that we know Obi Wan could fight. Obi Wan had Obi Wan is not a joke. You
no,
know, and we all know Anakin Skywalker's reputation, and then when he became Vader, we all knew his reputation then. So that fight should have been a lot more than just one swing and then a pile of clothes.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, obviously, and the only reason was that was the moment that Luke saw them, and he had to
Mhm.
give Luke that opportunity to get away.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think he would have fought. He was still clearly overmatched because Vader at
Hmm.
that time,
Yeah,
he
because I
said
mean,
it
Vader.
when
Yeah.
I left you, I was but the learner. Now I
Mhm.
am the master. So
Yeah.
he was
So it's like,
obviously more powerful at that point.
oh yeah, obviously Vader's still in his prime. Even though Obi Wan is still good, he can still teach, and he can still wield a lightsaber and the Force and everything like that. But Vader's much better. I mean, during the
Right.
Clone Wars, yeah, you could have taken him, and you did. But Now, no, not so much.
And
Mm,
even in Star Wars Obi-Wan, I think that, and again, this could probably all be included in that Darth Vader love letter episode. But
mm-hmm.
I think even in episode they were pretty evenly matched, I thought, in
Yeah,
Obi-Wan. I think that the Vader wasn't fully yet.
yeah.
He was
He was good
he
and he was strong and he fast. He's still relatively because I think this what took place like 10 years after the Clone Wars.
yeah, so we're about halfway in between Clone
Hmm.
Wars and A New Hope.
Yeah.
Well,
So
not even that, yeah, be about right because Luke was what, about 10? Luke and
about
Leia were about 8, 10.
10, 11, something like that. Yeah. And
Yeah, something like
so
that. So
yeah, and even at that time, and Obi-Wan, he wasn't training like Vader, and
we,
even
we were
still,
still we were still 8 years from the infamous hallway scene.
yes,
Which, while I think Obi-Wan did a great job of doing it, that was the first time on screen that I think since the original series, the original movies,
hmm,
that Darth Vader was truly terrifying on
yes,
screen. Truly terrifying.
yeah, because then
Didn't
you
say a
saw
word. Didn't say a word.
no, because the only thing you just heard was just the breathing. It just, and then
And then wall, 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 and
yeah,
people screaming.
yeah, and even
So
then,
yeah,
so yeah, they were still evenly matched, and that was when Obi Wan hasn't been training for years and only just picked up his lightsaber for like a month or two ago, something like that. Within I get then the time frame period of the show, and he was still able to kind of be matched evenly with Vader. So that kind of lets you know that Obi Wan he's not a joke. He's good. He's a very 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 well trained Jedi, and I think a lot of people that don't realize is that just how good he really is.
yeah, he's often. Come on, he was one of the few that survived the purge.
Yeah.
I know that there's lots of side stories, with other Jedi that have survived, and naturally, in a galaxy that's a
Hmm.
huge galaxy, people are going to be hiding all over the place. You're not
Right.
going to get rid of all of them, but
Yeah.
um, in fact, what was the game? Was it um, Apprentice? The one with Star Killer in it? There was one game in the very first level. It was you actually got to play Vader in the height of the Jedi Purge. The very first level was
Oh.
you hunting down some Jedi
Mm.
on, I think, Kashyyyk or something. I can't remember if that was the one with Sam
I'm
Witwer
not
who
sure.
played the apprentice.
Oh, that was Jedi. No, was it Sith something? No, wait. Yeah. Going to the Oracle.
Yep. I did not
Uh,
realize that Sam Witwer did voice several stormtroopers and other characters in The Force Awakens.
did he? Oh, I didn't know that.
The Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed. Okay.
That's what it was.
And
He was Vader's secret apprentice that Vader was trying to train to fulfill his designs to overthrow the Emperor. While in side fiction, specifically novels, Mara Jade was the Emperor's secret apprentice that he was training to take
right.
to to replace Vader. They were always plotting against each other the whole time. They're out here
Yeah. Well, the
working
thing
to
is,
conquer the galaxy while they plot
yeah.
against each other. So
The thing is, I wouldn't blame the Emperor because I mean, hey, here's this dude is like, hey, everything I've done, I've set all kinds of limits to him, and every one of those limits he's gotten past. So, I limit his robot body to where
Hmm.
he can only do but so much. He's gone past that. I've limited
He
his,
supersedes that.
I, I limit his, you know, um, his pain to where he has to feel pain, excruciating pain 24/7. He's gotten past that. It's like, well, goddamn, what the hell do I have to do to keep his
He
dude
tried
down?
they tried to curtail him through the command ranks by putting Grand Moff
Right?
Tarkin above him.
Yeah, still.
So like th- through the at the purge and into A New Hope,
Mm-hmm.
he answered to Tarkin. After that, though, I mean, Emperor couldn't do anything else. Once Tarkin was destroyed or killed on the Death Star,
Yeah, then
there
it's
was
like,
nothing. The
you
Emperor could
can't.
do nothing to hold Vader back anymore. He became the commander of the military.
Yeah. So it's like the I don't I don't blame the emperor, but
All doing this while you consider, again, I really got to do this episode sometime, this love letter episode, but all while doing this, knowing that Vader never reached his full potential because of his injuries.
yeah, yeah, and
Had he not been damaged and so wounded on Mustafar, he would have been unstoppable,
mm-hmm.
in my opinion.
Oh
Unstoppable.
yeah, without a doubt, he would have been unstoppable. Just simply because that, and I think they kind of explored it a little bit in Clone Wars, in the animated show, is that he was supposed to be uh like some kind of like force, some kind of guardian of the force or something like that.
Yeah, you're talking about when he met was it the brother and the
The
sister?
brother and the sister and the father, yeah, and he was
Right, the
supposed
brother
to
and the
be,
sister and the father. Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
and which like the brother represented the dark side of the force, and the sister represented the light, and the father was like the balance between the two, and he's supposed to take place of all of them.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was to just be like this collaboration of all three entities into one.
yeah,
I mean, his destiny was way
his destiny,
beyond.
yeah, his
And
destiny was supposed to be the
who
force.
messed that up? Who screwed that up?
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
So don't you can't you can't.
so it's kind of like, yeah, you messed up everything by two arms and a leg.
I'm a little
I mean, two legs
disappointed.
and an arm.
I'm a little disappointed, to be honest, in Yoda from Revenge of the Sith and his confrontation with Palpatine. That
A little
kind of
bit.
just he he fell down and crawled. I failed, I have, and then just, dude,
So you,
don't be a quitter.
what the hell, man?
What?
Like, I mean, come
I
on,
would have.
dude. I mean, hey, Qui Gon and Obi Wan, they may have lost, when it came to Darth Maul. There were breaks in the fight, but they kept on fighting.
They kept on fighting. They kept on fighting. And that's another thing, maybe another love letter episode talking about just the differences between Force and the Force use between Jedi's and Sith, because there's some really interesting like non-canon expanded universe stuff, like questions like when Obi-Wan watched Qui-Gon get cut down by Darth Maul,
Right?
and that shield door opens and Obi-Wan charges into the room, and he was touching a little bit of dark side there,
Yeah. Because I mean, it
almost
was
to the point
definitely
that it blinded him, which is what caused
that caused him to kind of get shoved
get
over the
knocked.
edge, and then
Mm.
he almost lost until he grabbed that one little piece that was there, and then he realized that, oh, let me calm down a little bit first, take a breath, and then he force flipped over. Yeah, so it's he did tap in a little bit to the dark side once he saw that you know Qui Gon got he Qui Gon got shoot right there. Yeah,
It's interesting to look at the different comparisons, because we see it again with Luke and his fight with Vader in the throne room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you will not turn. Perhaps she will. Never. And then he kind
Yeah,
of
and you
goes a
see,
little bit dark side, pounding on Vader,
yeah,
who
and
was
then
already not in the fight. He may have been taunting and being kind of a dick, but he was not in the fight. He
yeah,
wasn't into it.
so no, he
Like
was. It